You're watching Paris for Kids.
This is Paris for Kids, and this video is about the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Arrondissement. The 2nd and 3rd Arrondissement hold much for adults, but little for children. There is a lot of atmosphere, but a real shortage of destinations, unless the destinations are restaurants that start serving dinner only at around 8 p.m. or later. You'll walk all day and enjoy the walk, but at the end of the day, you'll be very tired and have no clear memory of what you did. So you should skip the 2nd and 3rd Arrondissement and go right to the 4th. The 4th is immediately east of the 1st Arrondissement, or just to the right on the map. Here's a walk that is really worth it. Start here. This is Ile Saint-Louis, and this is Pont Louis-Philippe. Walk along the quay, past the bouqinistes, the booksellers whose stores are just collapsible riverside stalls. They sell books, but also postcards and posters and other things. There's a lot to look at here. At Pont-Marie, the next bridge, cross the quay and continue up Rue des Nonnains d'Hier. Almost immediately, you'll find a garden on your right that belongs to the Hôtel de Sens. It's a very formal garden, and the plants are small and carefully trimmed and arranged in little mazes that are fun for kids to explore. There are benches to rest on too. If you continue walking up Rue des Nonnains d'Hier, in the next block, its name changes to Rue Fourcy, you will soon reach Rue de Rivoli, where there is a hydraulic carousel, which is one of the real reasons you're in Paris. Only some of the cars go up and down, and some have to be shared, but my son rode this ride like a champion and just loved it. As well, just south of the carousel, there is a Franprix where you can buy water or Band-Aids or whatever else you need. And a little to the east is a bakery called Au Désir de Manon, where you can buy sandwiches, pastries, and ice cream. A word of caution, everything south of Rue de Rivoli appears to be a pedestrian area, but it's not. It's a street, and many buses run along it. You should also take note that the Saint Paul metro stop is right there, as well as a public toilet. At this point, there are two different walks you can take. If you want a longer walk, go towards the Saint Paul metro station and continue walking down Rue de Rivoli. The first street to your right, a little past St. Paul's Church, is Rue Saint Paul. This is where Rue de Rivoli turns into Rue Saint-Antoine. Cross to the other side of the road and continue down Rue Saint-Antoine until you reach the second street on your left. This is Rue de Birague. The street seems to end at a red brick house with an archway through it. Behind that house is the Place des Vosges, where many famous people have lived, including Victor Hugo and Cardinal Richelieu. But more to the point, there is a large public garden in the center of the square, and compared to the rest of the Marais, which is what this neighborhood is called, it's quiet and tranquil. The square is also very beautiful. It's a good place to distress. If you want a shorter walk, just walk as far as Rue Saint Paul and then turn right. You will soon get to Village Saint Paul on your right. It's just below Rue Charlemagne. This is a pedestrian area with shops and restaurants, but what is fascinating about it is that it's one place in Paris where you can actually go inside the walls. Much of Paris is hidden. Behind most of the buildings that line the streets are courtyards and gardens and more buildings. As you can see from the Tour Montparnasse, which I will talk about in another video, Paris is quite a green city, but apart from the Luxembourg Gardens, in the 6th arrondissement, all the greenery is within the walls. None of it is on the street. So here in the Village Saint Paul, you truly get an idea of what the Paris behind the walls is like. It's a whole different world. You can also see this on Google Maps, but it's not quite the same as walking around inside the walls. These, for me, are the main sites for kids in the 4th arrondissement, but I will mention a few others. Further down on Rue Saint Paul, at number 11, is the so-called Musée de la Magie, or the Museum of Magic. Under no circumstances should you go to this museum. It is a complete rip-off. It's expensive, and there is nothing of interest to either children or adults. It's a scam. On a nicer note, the Centre Pompidou is interesting. All the parts of a building that are normally hidden inside the walls are exposed. You can see all the pipes and electrical wires and so on, and even the 5- or 6-story escalator is outside the building, which makes it kind of a thrilling ride for children. There is also a large plaza outside where people do strange things. For instance, I saw someone balancing on a bicycle and then bouncing it over a fence. So it's different and entertaining, for a while anyway. On the top floor of the center, there is a restaurant with a great view, but it seems a little pricey. There's a nice little area just north of the bouqinistes. There is a little street here called Rue des Barres, and it consists of a series of giant steps which will take you to the back of a church called Saint-Gervais. You can go through the church and exit in the front. Now you're standing directly behind the Hôtel de Ville of Paris, which is pretty grand. You can get to the front by angling right. If you're in Paris during the French Open, you can see the competition broadcast live on giant screens in the plaza in front of the Hôtel de Ville. You can also enjoy the small but delightful garden between the Hôtel de Ville and the Sens. If you're there in winter, they set up a skating rink in the plaza and you can rent skates, but they don't cool the surface enough and it's always covered in water. It's fine if you can't skate, but if you can, you'll want to avoid this rink. There's one last place you ought to go in the fourth, and that's BHV. BHV stands for Bazar de l'Hôtel de Ville, and it's right across the street from the Hôtel de Ville. It used to be a little more down-to-earth than the other department stores in Paris, but it was taken over by Galeries Lafayette, and now it's as high-end as all the other big stores. But still, BHV is a special experience, and kids love it.